Welcome to the Lead with Levity podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Heather Walker. And for those of you who are new to this podcast, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an organizational psychologist. I help companies manage change. I help companies develop their leaders. I help companies think about what can we do to support our people, to help them with their mental wealth. Not just their mental health, but their mental wealth. Because honestly, I want people to thrive at work and at home. That's what Lead with Levity is all about. Levity involves those forces that bring you up, that lift you up. There's a buoyant aspect of it. Life can be filled with so many pressures, right? Pressures that hold you down, that weigh you down, that leave you feeling like, what is it all for anyway? And we have to counteract that. We have to counteract that with forces that lift us up. And that's what Levity is all about. You can bring this to your organization. You can help your organization rise above the pressure that would otherwise hold it down and keep it from achieving its potential, hitting its targets, reaching those goals that you've set. So let me tell you a little bit about my summer. I spent a month actually in Costa Rica, and it was amazing. My family and we've been experimenting with living and working abroad during the summertime and just checking out other countries, checking out other places. So this time around, we went to Costa Rica, got an Airbnb, and just sort of drove around all over the country. We were like, for those of you who are old enough to remember the newspaper, the Sunday news and the comics and stuff, we were like Family Circus, that kid that was just all over the neighborhood, just running all over the place. That was us in Costa Rica. Hey y'all, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien, gracias. Don't worry, I didn't say it like that. One thing that I learned about myself, and I learned about this through my time in Costa Rica, is that I need Wednesday relief. What do I mean by this? So in Costa Rica, they have sort of this saying, it's pura vida, which is, kind of, we're going to live a simple life. And they work very hard there. At 5 a.m., you could hear the train, you could hear the bus, you could hear people moving around, you could hear the birds. All of the creatures are up, ready to go, getting their day started. But by 5 p.m., the sun is down, is going down, and it's dark and everything's shutting down. And so I'm used to waking up at 5 and getting my day started really early, but I'm also used to working after hours. And we went there to shake up the routine, to see, what is this pura vida life? What does that mean? And how can we kind of start to bring a little bit of that into our world? And I noticed, even with myself, that I would get up at 5, I would start working, but then by maybe 2 o'clock, I was ready to say, all right, it's starting to get a little dark. I may want to start wrapping some things up. I was spending a little bit more time with my family. We were going on trips, day trips and things like that. It was just a different way of living. And one thing that we started to implement, which I'm going to see if I can start doing this more often, is Wednesdays became excursion days. So we'd all say, all right, on Wednesday, I've done so much around Monday through Sunday. So I'm not going to lie, sometimes I do work on the weekend. On Wednesday, we're going to just take a break and we're going to go to the beach. We're going to go to a park and walk around, because they had beautiful, beautiful parks and nature reserves and things like that. We're going to walk around. We're going to get out into nature. We're going to be in awe and inspired by what's around us, because these 4 walls are cute. But what gets me saying, you know what? Life is beautiful is when I go outside and when I see something that just makes me curious, that makes me go, oh, wow, like active volcanoes. I didn't know that I would actually enjoy that. In fact, I was terrified of the idea of being anywhere near an active volcano. We stayed at the base of one and we went and visited and went to the top of another one. And now I'm kind of like, ooh, can I be a volcano chaser? Because that's kind of cool. All that to say, I feel like I'm rambling, y'all. I will get back to the topic at hand. Here's where I'm going with this. I left my life in the United States to go somewhere else, a completely different environment, completely different food, people, culture, expectations, everything. I don't speak Spanish. I did not take Spanish in school. I took French. So we learned a lot. We really did. And one thing that I learned in this process is culture shapes you in so many ways that you don't even realize until you step out of it, until you step out of the norm, the habits and the routine that you're in. And then you're able to take a look at that and say, what is serving me? What is helping me move forward? What am I doing that might even be causing me to burn myself out? So before we went to Costa Rica, to give you a little bit of background, I had laryngitis because I was flying all over the place, running all of these workshops, day-long workshop, working in between all of that. I was just working. This has been a hard year. There's a lot going on, a lot of work, good things. I'm not complaining. There are people who are consultants who don't have the opportunities that I have. But I said yes to too many things this year. So much so that I lost my voice. I lost my ability to speak. For an entire month, I had laryngitis. For 2 weeks straight, you could not hear me. When I opened my mouth, all you could hear was a squeak. And that experience taught me something about myself. One, it taught me that I'm willing to lay everything on the table for my work, including my voice. But it also taught me that I shouldn't do that. It taught me that at the end of the day, those things are important. I wasn't able to speak to my family, my husband, my daughter, people on the phone. I wasn't able to have meetings. I wasn't able to record on the podcast. I had so much to say, and I couldn't say it because I had allowed myself to work so much that I didn't have anything left to give. I literally had nothing left. And it took an experience like leaving the country and live the Pura Vida lifestyle. Someone please enlighten me. It took all of that for me to say, wow, something has to change. So our episode today is about that. What has to change in your life where for the longest you've said, I can figure it out. I can handle it. It's not fun, but I can do this. Yes, 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 yes. What do you need? 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 You too? Okay, I'll help you. Meanwhile, your cup is getting emptier and emptier and emptier and emptier, and you don't even have time to refill it. So this is an episode I'm going to have a conversation with a gentleman by the name of Human Matavelli, and we talked about his journey and how he had a similar revelation. Very different experience. Incredibly different. You never know what you're sacrificing. Sometimes you think you might be sacrificing your time, or you think you might be sacrificing, a little bit of sleep here and there, but you don't realize how the theft of a few hours here and there, lack of sleep here and there, a little bit of stress, a little bit of tension here and there can lead to bigger sacrifices that you didn't sign up for, that you didn't know were coming, and you couldn't plan for, and you couldn't even handle it because guess what? You signed up for too many things. You're already empty. You're already fried. So this episode is all about getting out ahead of these things. And honestly, if you are in the situation right now where you're thinking, wow, that's me. I am burnt out. I am tired. It's August, and you know how August goes. If you have children, school's about to ramp up. If you are in business, there are lots and lots of projects that are coming your way because everyone wants to get things done before the holidays. There's a lot going on. So if you're already tired and you see that, I still have a mountain to climb, this episode is for you. And I'm not shaming you in any way. I understand. I deeply understand. And I want you to take a look at your calendar and find a date when your meetings start to slow down, when it looks like, oh, I have a free date, and I want you to block off 3 days. I'm making this up on the spot. This isn't a model or anything like that, but I want you to block off 3 days. And I want you to use that time to do something kind for yourself every single day. I want you to use that time to think about what has not worked over the last 6 months or so, or the last 8 months or so. What has not served you? What has put you in this place of overwhelm and stress and frustration? And out of all of those things that are causing the pain, reach out to someone. That's the third thing. Reach out to someone who has a different perspective, maybe even a different style, someone who maybe has even gone through it and they can help you. They're like, I've been there. I was on the other side of that. I understand. And they can help you brainstorm ways to come out from under that, whether it's reprioritizing, looking at your schedule, getting some help and support. If it's a situation at work, looking at your team composition and how you can help them. But really take 3 days for you and use that time to plan, plot, and think about how are you going to climb that mountain and climb it with something in your bucket and make sure that you're filling it up. So for me right now, it's a commitment to Wednesdays, taking some time on Wednesdays to go explore. I love a good surprise, fun surprises, right? Pleasant surprises. That makes me excited. Like I feel alive when I have pleasant surprises. So how can I, living in a suburban area, bring more pleasant surprises into my life? Well, I'm going to do more exploration. I'm going to look for parks in my city. I'm going to look for castles in Texas. Yes, we're going to be going on road trips to visit castles in Texas. Whatever floats your boat, look for ways to bring some of that into your life. Bring it more into your life. You got to care about you. You have to be on that list of people that you answered to. I did not plan to be on a soapbox, so I will come down from that soapbox. I hope you enjoy this episode. Please subscribe so that you get more notifications so that you can be in the loop when new episodes come out. And then also, if you are looking for one-on-one support on just how do you get clear about what's important to you, how can you be more persuasive with others, how can you sort of make sure that you're productive but also staying true to yourself, we just recently launched a coaching program called 12 Weeks to Progress, and it's excellent. You'll get one-on-one coaching support, and you will have a cheerleader by your side to help you through and help you navigate these times. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can go to coach.leadwithlevity.com. unconventionalbusiness.com.
It's time for a sneak peek. Sneak peek, sneak peek.
How we could observe ourselves inside and outside through 6 perspectives. The first perspective again is inner, the second one is outer. So it's because of the shape of this creature. Our nature is that through those 5+1 senses, 6 senses, all the time we are checking the world. We don't check ourselves. We cannot do that because the features are from inside to outside, not conversely. So all the time we are the center, we have centric viewpoints, and what we are receiving as input, the unhealthy input in media, social media, and many other things across the world. And then it's a faulty process there inside our brains with inner voice, with wrong advice.
And now, on with the show.
When you're feeling the pressure, take a moment to step back, pick up your marbles, and choose to lead with levity. Join us on the Lead with Levity podcast for fireside chats that will fill your bucket and help you get back to being the leader you were meant to be. Now here's your host, Dr. Heather Walker.
Welcome back to the Lead with Levity podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Heather Walker, and I am so excited to have this conversation with our next guest, Houman Matavelli. Houman is the author of Don't Be a Crab, a practical guide to building strong, joyful relationships, which is what we're all about here. And he's a senior business analyst, consultant for blockchain and AI software teams. He's also the director of HSP Holdings. They are an IT-based company that invests in intelligent blockchain and DAO metaverse startups. Whew. I do a little bit of sort of investing, just little mini investing in coins, Bitcoins and all of that stuff and cryptocurrency. And it's like uncharted territory. So welcome, Houman. I am so excited that you're here. I'm excited that you do what you do. How are you today?
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Heather, for having me on the show, your podcast. It's my pleasure. I start from one word, is foundation. So I was trying to be a better guy of humankind, but I was not going to the roots. So just at the surface, I was going to show something. And definitely what was very important all the time for something like 3 decades, 2.5 decades. So what was very important to me and many other people was that how I am seen. It was not important who I am really. So it was not important. So I was in a show all the time, but I didn't know that. So, but what happened to me is I just shared in my book, I mean, the very first pages, was that something happened. I just missed all the money, and also my father has asked for some help. I couldn't help him because I was following money in other countries and on business meetings, etc.
So you were working so much that you weren't able to help your father financially.
Exactly. It was he could just call me and said that I don't feel good. I think I'm dying. I said that no, it's just a joke, or will not die. So just wait 2 weeks, so we get back to you, and we will find a solution. And the point is that so it was a very first time I was hearing something from my father, who was a military guy. He had a very robust, I mean, was a special character, but still because of my priority to following my dreams, or I mean any types of objectives or goals I had set at that time, my father was but not my priority. So it's sort of starting to doing some justifications. Now it's not the case. You go to doctor, and the day after he died, and all the time I was considering myself as a guilty guy. And also at the same time, I mean, it's in the same period of time, I miss all money in those business meetings. So I was not scammed, but somehow like I was just not concentrated and gave all my money to a wrong business. So yeah, after that, I said, okay, there's a problem. My father passed away and I don't have any money. I was a rich guy at that time, even when I was 29 years old. When I was 24, I was a millionaire. So even
Wow.
just injected something wrong as a wrong assumption to all of my system that, okay, you are a clever guy, you're a smart guy. A smart guy means that always you can make money, always you can take care of others and also
Mm,
care families, other friends or close friends, etc. And finally, I found that no, it's not the case. It was just something happened. Yeah, maybe you are good at business, but without foundation, finally you get stuck. Yeah.
okay. So when you talk about the foundation, what is incorporated into that foundation? Are you thinking family? Are you thinking balance? When you say foundation, what do you mean by that?
In my case, I mean, due to my experiences, it's not connected to family at all. It's connected to a mechanism of Homo sapiens, a very modern humankind. So initial humankind could not talk to himself or herself. But right now, we have a very special mechanism in our brains, this inner voice. And this inner voice, its mission is protection. It's protecting us all the time. And we don't know how much
Mm-hmm.
fears are inside us, and most of them are hidden. And at the time they appear and they draw our attentions many directions, the wrong ones, and we don't know where we are going. We don't know even who is the speaker, who is the listener inside our heads. And how I found it, I started to write down all the conversations, I mean, internal conversations inside my head, because they were going to make me not just confusing, they were making me crazy. All the time I was talking to myself as guilty at that time. It was a terrible period. And the only thing I found that, okay, I have to do something because no therapist could help me because I did it. And they didn't even understand what's going on. All the guys around me knew me as a healthy guy. So, I mean, human is in mental health and needs no sickness, but I was sick inside. That's why you see that people are gonna suicide, and before that,
Mm,
nobody could understand it's going to happen. So yeah, I started writing. I found that it's terrible what's going on in my, I mean, after 50 pages, I found that if you had asked me at that time, human, how many times you blame yourself, other guys around you, in any bank or restaurants or institute, I would say that, okay, two, 3 times a week. But when I just had a notebook of my internal conversations, I found that it's 10x, sometimes it's 20x. So my assumption was wrong. It's like many other things. I mean, negativity inside my head. And yes, I would say this
mm-hmm.
mechanism inside our heads is the most important. And the title of the book was The Roommate before, which is the closest mechanism to humankind, which is
Yeah.
much more important than any partnership or any relationship. When the very deep romantic relationships far from this mechanism inside our heads. That's why I say that foundation means inner voice.
Got it. Got it. So you're right. That voice lives with us and it goes to work with us, it goes to the bathroom with us. It's there all the time in ways that our significant others never can be. So you're right. That voice is sometimes goes unexamined. And when it goes unexamined, that means that we're allowing every message to just seep in and we're passively accepting those things. And I forgot to mention earlier, my condolences for your loss. Was that
I know
recent?
it's something like 10, yeah, 10 years ago.
Okay. Okay. And so that sort of sparked the inspiration for the writing and getting into this and saying, you know what? I've learned something about myself that I want to share with others so that they can unlock some things that are holding them back as well. For you?
Yes, but it was something like a combination of some events, even from childhood. For example, my 4 years old son was before he was talking to himself loudly, and recently he has started to hide the internal dialogue, and because now in 4 years old, it's 4.5, so he knows that okay, it's a time it's
Mm-hmm.
not necessary to share with others when I'm speaking loudly to myself, the others are listening. And there are some other opportunities, there are some other capacities, so I can do something else. And I have found that even sometimes at this age, he says that I am deceiving you. So he confesses, but in the next several years, he doesn't do that. So he say that, no, I'm saying the right thing. But he knows, he learns more and more tricks. And also when I was a trainer in sports, I found that teammates are all under
Mm-hmm.
14 players were not that much, so their minds were clearer or more clear. But under 23, they have many tricks. So all the time from childhood, I've been making or building a system, again, with no foundation, with a shaky foundation. And finally, with those events, yes, definitely. It was affecting all of me. So right now, after several years of training, if I miss a beloved one, definitely part of me will be engaged or involved. So not all of me, not all the time. But at that time, because I've not been working on myself, on my roots, on my inner voice, so that roommate, the offers or advice from the inner voice was they were terrible because when you all the time you are in for money, revenues, benefits, it's again about top managers right now across the world. Why you think that many other people think that politicians are terrible right now? Because most of the time they are others from through their feeders. They are looking for revenues in companies. They are working on numbers, but never they have an observatory system on themselves. So my system or my training programs offers the first level up to level 6. The first level is the observer, how we could observe ourselves inside and outside through 6 perspectives. The first perspective again is inner, the second one is outer. So it's because of the shape of this creature. I mean, our nature is that through those 5 plus 1 senses, 6 senses, all the time we are checking the world. We don't check ourselves. We cannot do that because the features are from inside to outside, not conversely. So all the time we are the center. We are this. We have centric viewpoints, and what we are receiving as input, the unhealthy input in media, social media, and many other things across the world. And then it's a about to process there inside our brains with inner voice, with wrong advice. So the outputs couldn't be healthy. The outputs couldn't be up. So that's the point.
You were a millionaire by the age of 24, I think I heard you say. What was happening at the time with your business? I assume that you had a team that was working with you. Did you notice that your relationships with your team were starting to suffer?
Yeah. So again, from the time I was 24, very first time I became millionaire, and again at the age of 32, and both times. So I was just checking again the teammates, team members, how they are doing, how they are making profits, how much they are effective in the team. I mean, for making revenues and making money. And I was 100%, I'm pretty sure that I would be the guy. And definitely, even if I would bankrupt, so I will make it again very soon. And it was something like based on wrong assumptions and again no foundation there. I was just checking everything around me, but not myself. And it just happened one time. I was telling myself as a sick guy, as all the time was this talkative inner voice was offering the okay, it just happened. You missed the money in a business or in a project, but you make it easily again. And when 2 years passed and still I was struggling, so I was crazy. So you knew yourself as a very clever guy. You could make millions at 24. Why you are at 26 right now, 27, 28, still you are struggling. So yeah, definitely. I was a sick guy, but I knew many tricks to show in other ways. People could not understand what I'm thinking inside my head because I could play with others, because it was very important how I'm seen. People knew me as a very young millionaire, and I could do many things they couldn't do. And all of them was, yeah, it was making a tricky system for me. And finally, I found myself very sick guy. Yeah.
Got it. So, with your book, Don't Be a Crab, a practical guide to building strong, joyful relationships, my assumption is that you found some tools, some strategies, some recommendations to help people go from sick to having more of a connected experience with the people around them. What have you seen to be effective when you're thinking about how do we have stronger, more joyful relationships?
Yeah, definitely. So the very first point I share with guys is that if you don't know, you are confused, and if you know yourself as a clear guy, I can give you some tests to check if you are confused or not. And in all of the cases, apart from very rare cases that they are really been trained, all of them finally they confess that, look, I'm so confused, because I asked them to write down the internal conversations, and finally they found, oh, what's going on? So why I blamed and many other things.
Yes.
So don't be a crab. I mean, starting with don't. The very first thing I have shared is exercises as a system is that starting from not to-dos lists before any to-dos lists. So all of us have many to-dos lists for a daily basis. So
Did I hear that correctly? Start with a not to do list first? Is that what you said?
to-dos list, always I make not to-dos lists. So, and I have
Okay.
shared 10 plus one not to-dos in my book, and always I start with them. For example, the number zero, always I start from number zero, which is root, which is a root for all the system. Number zero is don't act or react. In most of cases, we
Mm-hmm.
have some actions or reactions we don't need it, because this mechanism or this inner voice is offering or is pushing us to do something. We do that because the mission, again, the mission is protecting us from any hazards or from any fears. So what not to do is number one is don't blame. Stop blaming yourself on others. But how? Always we need some exercises to stop action or reaction, or stop blaming ourselves or others, in any others. I mean, so it's not about even a bank. So
Mm-hmm.
because I prove in my training sessions that at the end of the day, what's important is your health, I mean, mental health. So if you start blaming, it doesn't affect that bank that much. But even if you want to share something or help them, it's not the case. I mean, you cannot help them or help yourself with blaming. So, but with 10 plus 1 exercises, we go for 10 plus 1 fears to remove those fears that's hidden inside. Again, my wrong assumption was that something like two or up to three fears of, out of those 10 or 10, 11 ones I have. Finally, I found that all of them are inside me, all of them. And for example, fear of love is both
Mm.
sides. Is fear of being loved, fear of loving something, someone, and many other things. I mean, in these four sides, with love myself and love others, being loved or love others I mean, profoundly. So there are all of them are making fears for us. For example, if I love my partner and if I feel that it's too much, again, so it appears that, but removing that fear is again is connected to levity. So removing those types of fears, I mean, test 10 plus ones, is just through 10 plus one exercises, and it starts from 10 plus one not to do's. Why? We are going to pass 6 levels, which is level one is the observer, level two is the analyzer, so how we can analyze what's going on inside our heads without observing, how we can analyze ourselves without observing. People start to analyze themselves when they have not observed enough. So even I would not say it's enough or it's not enough. It's not started yet. So most of people. Observer two is the analyzer. Level three is the distinguisher. So you can distinguish all the conversations inside your head. Who is the speaker? Who is the listener? Number four is the manager. As you see, the management system across the world is terrible because most of managers are not even at level one. They don't observe themselves at all. They always observe others and other
Mm.
things. The number five is the true server. So the true server is a guy who has passed all the levels. So I have 3 days of program, 3 months of program, and 3 years of program. For 3 years of program, we have gathered, some true servers together to reach the level 6, which is the alchemist. I think I could not be a potential alchemist because I think it's something like a school of growth. So the people, teenagers or kids could take this system and will be much faster than me, in this system.
So, Human, you didn't come up with the system then, because if you came up with the system, why can't you be the alchemist? Is this system, did someone else create this layered system?
I have created this system by myself.
Then why can't you be the alchemist?
Because always I'm going to gauge some experiments made things. So alchemist is a guy who changed the chemistry of something. I don't see still this far. I don't see the signs of being alchemist on myself. So probably within the next several years, I've been working on myself more and more as a true server. Probably will get ready to do that. It's not something for all of us. So if I just say that I would try my best to do that. So yeah, you need to see some signs. It could happen, but still I don't see potentials, but I see potential in others. That's why we shouldn't be crap.
Pulling everyone else down.
We are not even at level 1 because if we start really observing ourselves seriously, we find out okay, even many bad guys around. So sometimes I'm like them, and sometimes I'm doing something like what they do, and at least in my head, even if I don't do that in a real world. So yeah, I think if somebody is not the observer, could not make the foundation, and adding any types of skills or assets finally doesn't work. Finally doesn't work. So that's why I see that people are always looking for brands or having sets of assets, etc. At the end of the day, apart from many exceptional cases, which they have some objectives behind, so they have some intentions behind those brands. Collecting brands. So other ones, finally, which is showing they are like myself 10 years ago, even 7 years ago. I was in a show all the time. So, so now I have a foundation. All the time I have 6 perspectives: inner, outer, situational, out of situation. I have explained all of them by details in my book. Number 5 is historical. 100 billions of people have died on our planet with same dreams, with same ambitions, with same problems, like me. And at the specific moments, I cannot take this historical perspective or other perspectives. And number 6 is universal. If somebody asks you, do you know your size in this universe? You say that definitely. But at specific moments, when somebody is offending me, somebody is making me angry or taking me out of my comfort zone, I forget about my size in this planet and I start to protecting myself that again, it's most of cases, something like 95%, 99% of time, we don't need any protection. Just because of those fears inside, we start to protect ourselves or defend. That's why number 0 of those not to do's is don't act or react. In very special cases, we need to act immediately or react immediately. That's the system.
Got it. Got it. Let's see if we can apply this system to a real scenario and see what this might look like applied to a real workplace scenario. So we have an employee who has some chronic pain. They've requested to work from home so that they can maybe work from bed because that'll alleviate the pain that's associated with sitting up. Now, this employee's manager responds with, well, you just want to work from home. Doesn't everyone? I'd like to have an excuse to lay around in bed all day. With this particular scenario, what are you noticing with the manager and employee dynamic when you're thinking about that internal and that external lens and the different levels? What are you noticing here?
Definitely when I start working with them, if that it will be directly. So I get more details. But to make it simple, all the time I share with my trainees, teammates, that if you have not been observing what's going on inside your head, all the time somebody could bother you, could bullying at you, and all the time always there's next problem, always. So you are okay with everything. So everything will be okay when you are okay with everything. So, but how? How it's possible? So through perspectives. If you have perspectives, and like Brené Brown said, anybody something at the specific moment is the best thing they could do that at this moment. It couldn't be better. But people always think that no, it could be better. So that employee or their manager. No, as you see, as we speak, the best I can do right now is what you see right now. So it's not possible to be better exactly right now. But without perspectives, without that foundation, or not tracking the universe all the time, it's like going to Olympics. It's not possible to, exercising once a week and just the objective will be, attending Olympics. It's not possible. So you have to work on it every day and with some pressures, putting some pressure on yourself. So with this situation, definitely, if somebody has started to be an observer, the situation will be better for him or her. But the expectation is not always we can be successful to take ourselves from such a situation or be relaxed. So that's why when we hear that, okay, be yourself, be honest, be clear, be authentic. It's not possible how I could be myself. I've been from childhood, like my son, I have started to hide my conversations. And also I know many tricks to show something else or pretending in some other direction. So yes, in a very specific situation you just shared, definitely the expectation is not some exercises. And for example, we have a very good reminder, always our thumb in our fist, and is a very good reminder of perspectives that when somebody is against us or offending or something like that, oh, immediately I take it and I say, okay, all the perspectives are running right now. It's nothing to protect. Yes, definitely. If it's about racism or something like that, I start to defend, but not defending myself, defending what's social. So I have some responsibilities. But all these ones is we can do them and we can apply for them for several years. Again, like Olympic method. You have to exercise all the day, all the time. You're tracking the internal conversations, and then at such a situation with employee and manager, it's not important for you because you know that it's a humankind. He has no perspective. If a manager is a bullying, for example, it's not be influential for you. So you will be relaxed because you know the perspective. And even if, for example, that guy lose the job and will be jobless for a while, still he or she knows that it's a part of life, it's a part of package. But definitely it's not possible after several weeks of exercises you reach such a level.
Thank you. Thank you for providing your perspective on that. What's on the horizon for you, Human?
Actually, I'm working on gathering more true servers right now. So working on my second book is DAO, or DAO is a term in blockchain technology, which is decentralized autonomous organization, which is connecting to decentralization or blockchain technology. But this time the term is a bit different. My title for my next book is Decentralized Alchemists Organization. So I'm trying my best to gather service to find who will be the real alchemist. So I think I'm working with some very young guys. There are some awesome ladies also there. So sometimes I'm so surprised that they take such an idea, like a foundation or exercises or not to do, and they are much better than me. That's why it's another sign that I say that they would be the alchemists, not me. So, and also it's been my idea. So I'm just sharing more and more people that would be much faster than me, because in the next generation, definitely they are faster than me. They are taking the ideas even deeper sometimes. And yeah, so I'm working on gathering them and also learning from them. So, but I'm just sharing what happened for me in this devising a system, designing the system, and then share the system with others. And some people take it and do it much better than me.
Thank you for joining me today. If anyone is interested in learning more about you and everything that you have to offer, where should they go?
HumanMotevali.com is my official website. HOOMANMOTEVALLI.com is my official website. My Linktree, my all social pages, and my patents or publications or articles are there, all of them. And yeah, you can be connected to your listeners also through my social media pages.
Okay. Wow, that's good. That's good. All right, Human, thank you for joining us today. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful evening, sir. And I look forward to seeing this episode come out.
Again, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on a podcast, and your lovely podcast. And yeah, it was so joyful for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Lead with Levity podcast. To get resources mentioned in this episode and find out what we're all about, check us out at leadwithlevity.com.